It is the 15th of August. It is the day when West Papuans were failed by the UN, failed by the Netherlands, failed by Indonesia, and failed by the world governments. Papua! Papua! Free West Papua!
Free West Papua campaigners marched through London to highlight Indonesia's illegal occupation of the region and of the human rights abuses taking place under the regime.
In West Papua, carrying this flag of independence carries a 15-year sentence, you know. Many have been imprisoned, many have been tortured, many Papuasians have been killed since Indonesia overtook the province.
We're here today in Trafalgar Square to demonstrate for the freedom of the people of West Papua. And we're showing the British public and the world that we are here in solidarity with the West Papuans in their struggle for freedom. They've been brutalised by Indonesia for over 50 years and been suffering genocide, colonialism and slavery. And enough is enough. We're here to protest against this horrible injustice and the West Papuans will finally be free.
Stopping outside the Papua New Guinea embassy, protesters delivered a letter calling for Papua New Guinea support by including West Papua into the Melanesian spearhead group.
Men, women and children are suffering in West Papua. Papua New Guinea, open your ears and your eyes. Do not be spiritually blind to the cries of the people of West Papua. West Papuans are your blood brothers and sisters. Papua New Guinea, wake up! Wake up!
En route to the Indonesian embassy, campaigners also stopped at Buckingham Palace to point out Britain's role in this conflict.
Papua has been pushed into occupation and repression, and British corporations and other Western corporations are now taking advantage of that to mine out gold, copper and all the West Papuan resources. So it's part of a capitalist plan, part of a capitalist world that we live in, to have weakened nations that we can exploit. And that's why it's very much a British government problem, and it's relevant to Britain where all the mining companies are registered, and it's relevant to the British Department for International Development, who push these like mediocre policies of development by having corporations who allegedly develop communities when they actually just repress and take away their human rights. And with Buckingham Palace, because this is very much part of a colonialist, neo-colonialism, which is coordinated from Britain still.
Freedom, freedom for West Papua. Freedom, freedom, freedom for West Papua.
The dubious 1962 New York Agreement has always been rejected by the West Papuans, and many have been killed and persecuted in protest of this.
Everywhere coming together to send a message to Indonesia government that your presence in West Papua is illegal, and in other international law shouldn't be there. So that's why we're here to send a message to Indonesia government. And 1969 New York Agreement is a betrayed West Papua future. So this is very important. So that's my message to Indonesia, and give West Papua a chance to choose their own destiny. And that we are now calling for international supervised vote for West Papuan people.
They are making record numbers of arrests every day to protesters, students, innocent people. And recently 38 children were arrested, the youngest being just 10 months old. And there's a breach of their human rights. They're not allowed to have intervention with the press, no intervention with outside humanitarian agencies, complicit compliance in corruption in order to stop the world awareness about what's happening in West Papua. So what we want to do is to open the dialogue so that this can end, and we want the UN to hear this message and to do something about it. That's what we want. The UN has to address this, and other nations. We want the African Union to come to the aid of West Papuans now, and we need all other nations to come to the aid, especially the people in the Caribbean. You know, this is no different to what we've experienced. It's no different to what Africa has experienced, and they're raping and pillaging the people, and they're raping and pillaging the country. They're taking all of their resources, their gold, their silver, their copper, their liquid gas, their oil and all of their timber and minerals, and they are raping it dry. And BP here in the UK has just expanded their operations, so we have to intervene. We have to do something because they are killing the indigenous people, and the genocide is ongoing, and it is the worst atrocities I've seen. It's like East Timor times 1,000 or 1,000,000 at least, to say the least. That's what's going on, and we want the world to know. And the reason why we're out here is to send a message to them.
Campaigners are calling for a United Nations intervention and are intent on making the world aware of this issue as a silent genocide is taking place beneath our eyes.
Free West Papua! Free West Papua! Free West Papua! Free West